Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Wednesday, May 14th, 2014. This morning I am beginning with an InfoWars article, De-Dollarization. Russia is on the verge of dealing a massive blow to the petrodollar. Is the petrodollar monopoly about to be shattered when U.S. politicians started slapping economic sanctions on Russia? They probably never even imagined that there might be serious consequences for the United States. But now the Russian media is reporting that the Russian Ministry of Finance is getting ready to pull the trigger on a de-dollarization plan. And is this, could this happen? Well, other nations are beginning to look to Russia, and the BRICS nations really have some power and some influence. China is just about to surpass the U.S. as the largest world economy. And we have instances like this of other countries wanting to align themselves with Russia. From Stratford, Uganda courts Russia to develop its oil sector. Kampala's reserves are landlocked and exploiting them will be costly. And they're asking for Russia's help. I don't think that we should be surprised because the U.S. has betrayed and exploited and abused so many nations, manipulated so many peoples, that we really have lost any draw that we've had in the past. Yeah, we still have our military, but the military is reportedly not going to be loyal to the cabal. And the cabal still has Blackwater and Blackwater related and renamed mercenary bands, and they are still using them, as I noted yesterday. But it really seems like there's a shift, and it's going to be sad for Americans, at least for a while, because it's going to take us some time to rebuild and recover. But I think there's some reaping and sowing here that we have not adequately, vigorously monitored our government. And in this country, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we have let it get out of control. I think that you could say that our biggest fault is that we've been trusting and nice, but a nation of sheep will be ruled by wolves. So I think, maybe can we be at least mountain goats, maybe not just complete sheep, and begin to be a little more aggressive and recover our country and restore our constitutional republic. From Washington's blog, direct NSA partners AT&T, Verizon, Microsoft, Cisco, IBM, Oracle, Intel, Qualcomm, Qwest, EDS. And this is a slide that was leaked by Edward Snowden and really bears just looking at the slide. One slide is worth, I don't know how many words, but many, many words. This slide tells a story right here. Thank you, Edward Snowden, for delivering that bit of information to us. For another InfoWars article, a world war is beckoning. And this is kind of a philosophical article, although of course it has facts, but just outlining how the U.S. has participated in war, promoted war, again, exploited people and nations to further whatever agenda the cabal happened to have. I'll just read the final paragraph here. A popular truism is that the world changed following 9/11. But what has changed? According to the great whistleblower Daniel Ellsberg, a silent coup has taken place in Washington, and rampant militarism now rules. The Pentagon currently runs special operations secret wars in 124 countries. At home, rising poverty and hemorrhaging liberty are the historic corollary of a perpetual war state. Add the risk of nuclear war, and the question begs, why do we tolerate this? Why indeed? And I have that as an introduction to the next skirmish on the horizon. Of course, Ukraine is still going on, but it really seems that evil people are trying to push the world ever closer toward the brink of World War III. My prayer, hope, and belief is that they will fail. And that, of course, is a faith-based belief. But I'm also encouraged by many things that people like Benjamin Fulford and David Wilcock have written, that these plans will not succeed and we will not see war, at least not a world war. From Zero Hedge, China deploys submarine near Vietnam oil rig, 86 vessels now present. And there are a lot of articles on this. I saw a tweet from Zero Hedge last night that the Chinese embassy warned Chinese people in Vietnam to stay off the streets, and the Vietnamese were burning, I think, 10 factories in protest. So here's this old struggle. I mean, South Vietnam, I hope most Americans are old enough to recognize South Vietnam, and that was one of the places that what has been manipulated by the military-industrial complex to stir up war, to get us to justify war to Americans, get us to send our men and our money and basically into a black hole. Of course, the money is in someone's pocket. That's not necessarily going into a black hole, although we will never see it again, so I guess you could call it a black hole. Of course, we might see it if some of the people like Zapp and Benjamin Fulford are correct, that there will be some kind of restitution made and fortunes restored to those from whom they've been stolen. But that's a nice thought. I hope that might happen. But here's just, I just did a search. China, South Vietnam, May 2014. This is what's been happening in the last few days. China oil drilling sparks violent protests, and that's the factories burnt, which I mentioned. Embassy issues warning as anti-China protesters torch factories. So where will this go? I don't know. I think it's worth keeping an eye on, though. And for struggles, we certainly don't have to look beyond our own borders, because, as Blacklisted News has reported here, new controversy erupts in Nevada as BLM now trying to keep Otero County ranchers' cows from water. So the feds are just pushing and pushing and pushing on this. There's really a struggle at this point, and I think that the heart of the struggle is, who does the land belong to in America? And the feds are claiming that, the BLM is claiming that it's their land, but you know, we all depend on ranchers and farmers for food. So in being detrimental to these ranchers, the feds are in effect being detrimental to all of us. And for all I might guess, this is even part of the plan to deny us protein-rich foods like beef to speed up our demise. From Zero Hedge, rebellion in the USA, protesters attempt to arrest Albuquerque police chief. So this is more about the struggles between Americans and what is masquerading as government. Of course, government of the people, by the people, and for the people responds when people protest. And New Mexico has been a hotbed of police corruption, jail corruption. That's where some of the issues arose with Ian Garland in Fast and Furious, the horrible jail conditions that he was in. That was a jail in New Mexico. And everybody's pretty much aware of what's going on in New Mexico, but this is one thing that's a little more specific. From activist post, Albuquerque police violated lapel camera policy 60 times. So they're not playing by the rules. On April 21st, Albuquerque police officer Jeremy Deere shot and killed 19-year-old Mary Hawks. And there, of course, there have been many other issues in New Mexico. That recently police there shot and killed a man, a vagrant man, for sleeping in a park. I guess that's punishable by death now, at least according to the tyrants and the minions who work for them. But of course, the more of us who are eliminated, the faster the elite will be able to arrive at their goal of being transhumanist, and I think they feel like they need to live forever because they don't ever want to have to face the white throne judgment in heaven. I think on some level they are probably aware that that is not going to be a good day for them. In this InfoWars article, transhumanist, superhuman powers and life extension tech will allow us to become like God. And yeah, I really want to clarify, there is not a hint, not a drop, not an atom of conspiracy theory in this kind of a statement, because we actually know from the horse's mouth, as Fritz Springmeier has been representing, introducing the Illuminati to people in general, to the general public, there is no denial, there's not even a hint of denial that eugenics programs are going to be left behind. You know, that they have stated, the kinder, gentler Illuminati have stated that they are purging the pedophiles and Satan worshippers from their midst, but they still are embracing their policy of eugenics and population reduction by whatever means. And here are just a couple of articles from Mercy Triumphs. I just did a search for eugenics. And one article, Excellence Avoiding Being Called by Fritz Springmeier, and Justified Homicide, How the Illuminati Dumbed Us Down for Destruction by Fritz Springmeier. Now, I believe this article, Justified Homicide, I believe this article was written before Fritz began to directly communicate with the Illuminati and before he became their kind of ambassador, I guess you could call it. And this article was written after he began a closer association with them. And in this article about excellence, Fritz is suggesting that we can avoid being called from the herd. The weak will be called from the herd. If we're excellent, that means we're not weak. And if we're not weak, we won't be called from the herd. Alex Jones yesterday got into this subject of eugenics a little bit, and I don't have the link, or I don't have the video up, but it was during his show yesterday. And as he stated, eugenics used to be presented as a means for just truly, you know, getting rid of the weak, which was easier to sell that idea to middle class and upper middle class people. But the reality, the expression of the practice of eugenics has really been rather different. It has been the middle class that has suffered, and actually what used to be the working class has become the welfare class, and they to some extent are being preserved, at least given a leg up far more often than the middle class. So as Alex framed this, it's really the middle class that is being called, and that excellence will not help you be spared from being called, because actually they are going after the excellent because they would like to eliminate their competition. So, decide for yourselves. Maybe listen to Alex's point of view and, Fritz's encouragement that if we're excellent, we'll be safe, we'll be okay. Again, a nation of sheep will be ruled by wolves. So if you go along and just try to be good and try to be excellent, I'm not sure that is the best means of preserving your life and your future. No, I'm not advocating going on welfare and becoming part of the protected welfare class. I'm advocating not being a nation of sheep. This is somewhat encouraging. I have not listened to this yet. I hope to get time to. It's an hour and a half, and I listened to the very long, almost 3-hour video with Dave. There was a radio interview with David Wilcock last week, and I didn't regret a minute of that. It was excellent, and yeah, I'm hoping to get the hour and a half to listen to this video as well. Audio, really, with this stationary picture. Victory of the Light with Robert Potter guest Benjamin Fulford. It's always interesting to hear what Benjamin Fulford has to say. So Victory of the Light. So that sounds like a pretty positive report. And Don mentioned this article to me from Zero Hedge about metals, the shorting of metals, the manipulation of metals prices coming to a halt. And just when he told me that, I checked the price of silver, and it was up. So the constraints may have been taken off. We will see how this develops, and certainly this, if this really does develop, this is great news, because if the cabal is losing the ability to manipulate metals prices, commodities prices, that is an indication that they are losing the ability to manipulate other things as well. So, good news. More good news from Natural News. Could the key to Alzheimer's disease prevention be as simple as eating strawberries? And this is a great time of year for an article about strawberries, because this is strawberry season. Just coming into June, that's when in the east, in the cooler climates, that's when you can harvest strawberries, and yum. The Salk Institute has found that fisetin, a flavonol found in strawberries, mangoes, cucumber, and other fruits and vegetables, may protect the brain against Alzheimer's, dementia, and age-related memory loss. And my final good news article of the day, not an article really, just a photo, but congratulations to Mike Adams, who was a guest on Dr. Oz. And there is a link here. I clicked on it. It has a preview, and I'm guessing that you'll be able to view this interview on YouTube and other places. But this is great news. It's good for Mike Adams, and as Luke Rakowski said, congrats to Mike Adams. But it's really good news for the American people, that the kinds of wisdom that Mike Adams has to offer is beginning to break through into the mainstream. So hopefully Americans will have more and freer access to more and more information that can truly be of service to them. And hey, maybe at some point in the foreseeable future, the press will stop being the prostitutes, as Gerald Celente calls them. We can hope. Thank you for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and insist on liberty by enforcing the Bill of Rights.